Hello, my name is Cindy and thank you so much for coming to this video. This video is going to be about teacher tips, and I am doing a challenge about all different types of videos related to teaching. And so today I'm challenged to give my favorite teacher tips. So stay tuned. Hello, my name is Cindy Bennett and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to leave a comment below this video. Let me know how you liked it and please consider subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. So here we are. We're going to talk today about teacher tips. So I have been a teacher for many years. I went to college to be a teacher, a math teacher, and I was very excited to get into teaching math. I have some tips about first time things that I learned, in my first year teaching. And I've learned a lot over the years, and I've done regular in school teaching. I've done a lot of tutoring in person and online. I have also homeschooled my own kids, and I've worked in a few different Christian schools. And so I feel like I come with a little bit of experience. So here are the tips that I thought of from my own history in teaching. First of all, I like to choose a theme for my classroom. So this is pretty common for elementary school teachers, but high school teachers sometimes will just, use the class that we're doing. For example, math, just put up some math posters. English, you might put up some English posters. I like to use a theme and kind of work around that to decorate my classroom. One year I was like, I really want to do Candyland. I had been homeschooling for many years, and I don't know, for some reason I just thought, I know kids don't really like math, so maybe I'll make it fun. When they walk in, at least the decorations make them smile. And I mentioned this to I think I had this idea, and it was in the summer, and I had taken my kids to the dentist. I went to the dentist, and they had like a summer Halloween thing. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I remember that the office was completely decorated in Candyland stuff. And I asked them what they're going to do with the decorations afterwards, and they said they were just going to throw them away. So I said, could you keep my name, somewhere? And when you guys ready to get rid of it, can you call me up and I'll come get it? And they said, sure. So I got all this really awesome Candyland decor for my classroom, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I did use some of it I adapted, and when I started with VIP Kid, I actually had some of those decorations, and those were the first decorations I used to decorate my VIP Kid background when I did my very first welcome video. So that's a fun memory. But, pick a theme and then don't make it like you have to go out and buy everything. Be creative and see what you can do. I have a theme for this year that I'm excited about, and I'm going to keep it a secret because I don't want my students to know until they walk in and see it, which is in a few weeks actually. But pick a theme and have fun with it. So, number 2, start thinking about your classroom routine, your procedures, and your consequences. This is very important at the beginning of the year to think of ways that you're going to be creative to keep the class moving, um, you know, different rules that you want to have in place so that the kids know exactly what's coming up next. They know what to do when they get to your class. They have an idea of how things are going to go. And so they're not really every day wondering, is she going to do it the same way? Is she going to change it? Is she going to stay with it? So have your class routine, have your procedures in place, and decide what you're going to do for consequences, because the truth is someone is going to test your limits. So you want to make sure you know what you're going to do and you are ready to do it. And the next one is follow through. Following through is one of the most important things that you can do as a teacher. Your students need to know that whatever you say, that you will follow through with that consequence or whatever it might be. This is very important, and kids will test the limits. And if you've been teaching for any length of time, you know that this is true. Number 4, be flexible. Okay, I see I need an E in there. Be flexible. So you made your classroom routine, you have your procedures, you have your consequences, and maybe something's not working. Be flexible. Make sure that you leave room for yourself to change things up a little bit. If it's not working, be willing to admit it and be willing to change it, and just be ready to tweak things as needed. All right, my next one is number 5. Check the students' work regularly. Okay, so I had a teacher that I worked with at one point in time, and she never really went through and checked the work. And kids really need to be held accountable to do the work, and they want to know, did I do this correctly? Did I make a mistake? I try to check the kids' work every day, and depends on how many students you have. If you can actually correct the work every day, you might be able to give them an assignment of the entire page and then just correct the even numbered problems. Or, switch papers and have them correct each other's work. So have some system of checking the work regularly. Don't allow your classroom to go days without something that's been checked and that they have had some sort of an evaluation, because if kids aren't being checked, they will not do the work. Eventually they're going to say, well, that teacher never checks my work, and they're just going to skip it. And then when it comes time for test day, they're not going to be ready. So check the work regularly. And then number 6, take breaks. Take breaks throughout your classroom. You teach for 10-15 minutes, take a little break, not meaning get up and walk out, but maybe stop, have some type of situation that you can maybe ask a question, like maybe do something for 10 minutes, do some drill questions, and then continue with the class. So kind of change it up a little bit. Don't just have the kids just sitting there in any one particular thing for too long, because kids need to be challenged, and then they need to have some breaks here and there. So don't feel bad about taking breaks during class. Maybe take a break. You've worked on a unit for a certain period of time, and you want to take a break and watch a little video about that unit or something like that. So change it up and provide variety for the classroom. Now, this one is drill. Don't be afraid to drill your students. I am a mom of kids. I'm also a teacher. And I really appreciate it when the teacher will make sure they ask the questions over and over and over, and make sure that the kids have memorized the answers. So don't just give a lecture and then move on to the next thing. Go back and review. And I like it when the teacher will review certain important facts and drill those. If you're doing history, drill the dates, drill the people. Make sure that everyone in the class knows these people, and make sure they know these important facts backward and forward. If you're doing math, you review your multiplication tables. Don't assume that all the kids remember everything that you teach. And don't be afraid to drill for memory. There's nothing wrong with memorizing. I learned when I went to a Christian school, we did a lot more memorizing than we did when I went to the public school. And the more you memorize, you're actually like exercising your brain so that your brain can actually learn more. Memorizing is a great skill, and every student should have something memorized. Now, I'm not saying to memorize only, but don't be afraid of memorizing. There are different types of learning styles, and memorizing is one of them. Of course, we want to teach critical thinking and, thought processes. But sometimes you do have to go back to the basics, and don't be afraid to drill. And teach your kids what drill is, and maybe they can even go home and do some drill on their own. I know that's kind of asking a lot, but teachers can dream, right? Number 8, make it simple. So don't make your subject so complicated that the students aren't going to remember everything. I relate this to math because sometimes there's a lot of different ways to teach a certain thing. But if I make it simple and I keep reviewing until the student feels successful, maybe doing the problem that certain way, then I can kind of give them more ways of doing it. But make it simple, because kids, they can only do so much. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're not. And if you make it simple and you review a lot, you do the drill, you will be more successful as a teacher. So here we have learn and retain. Learn and retain are the goals, okay? So what I mean by this is you want your students, you want them to have a good time in your class. You want to have different experiences. But the ultimate goal you want for your student is to learn something in your class and to retain it over a period of time. Like, 2-3 years from now, if they can remember what you did in your class, I think that's great success for a teacher. If you've only taught them to do well on a test, then they're not retaining, and they're not going to maintain that information for very long. So learn and retain, I think, are really great goals to keep in mind. Stay on topic. Now, I'm a mom. I really appreciate it when a teacher will stay on topic for the entire class. That doesn't mean you can't take breaks, doesn't mean you can't change it up and bring variety into the classroom, but you don't need to go talking about, the latest holiday coming up, or, what you got shopping the other day, or things that are totally off topic. Kids today need teachers to stay on topic, to teach the subject, bring variety, but stay on the topic. The kids are going to school to be in school. And I know for myself, a lot of kids nowadays aren't going home and studying for hours. So what they do at school is even more important. They can go home and they can chit chat with their friends and they can watch TV. But when they're in the classroom, please, as teachers, stay on the topic, make it interesting, make it fun, let them get to know you as a person. But for the most part, stay on topic. Thank you. All right, so these are my tips, and I am going to go ahead and I'm going to clear the board here, and I am going to give you a bonus. That's what I like to do. I like to give you one extra bonus. And this bonus is, don't be afraid to read the text in class. Okay? Now, I have found that students, today aren't, like I said, they're not going home as much and doing the work. If you say for history, we're going to be covering this 10 pages tomorrow, please read these 10 pages and be ready for a discussion tomorrow in class. Some kids, I would say a small minority of them are going to actually read the pages. I'm sorry to have to say this, but That's what I'm seeing as a teacher, as a parent. And so don't be afraid to read the text in class. Kids need to know that they can read the text. It's not that hard, they can understand it. You can either read it to them, have them switch off, pick one of the students who's a really good reader to read it out loud, change it up, read a page, discuss it, have them take notes. But don't be afraid to read the text in class, because you'll be teaching your student how to read a text. If they're not reading textbooks already, they need to learn, whatever grade you're teaching. The textbooks are created for that grade level in mind, so they should be able to read it. I taught one science class one year, and I realized that a lot of these students aren't going home and reading it. So we actually read just about everything in class. And I figured, what's the point of me chattering along and talking about something that they haven't even read about? So I read the text, we did some discussion, we took notes, I taught them how to take notes. And then at the end of the year, I had them do one of the chapters on their own. I said, read this chapter, and for the test this time, you're going to be doing an outline of the chapter and give me a summary about what you read about. And they were able to do that because we had kind of done that all through the year. And so that's what I want to recommend. If you're teaching math, don't be afraid to read the textbook. They have the explanation on the page, and it's made for their age. It's created for the students, and the better they can learn to read that text, then they can help themselves. I know myself, when I was a student, I would just skip over the explanation. And now as a teacher, I understand that reading that explanation is very valuable to the students. So I like to help them with the explanation, help them understand that they can read it and it can be helpful, and then send them home with a little bit of homework. So those are my tips for today. Let me know what you think about these tips. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these things, or maybe you have a tip to add. Go ahead and post it down below, and I would love to know your tips that you have for the classroom. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.